Okay, guys, today we're just having a little bit of an extension on yesterday's lesson, all right, on simplifying algebraic expressions, or like I said, the specific part of it is combining like terms, all right, adding and subtracting like terms. So we're just going to go ahead. It's a little bit of review, but I want to do some of these problems together really quickly. So just a couple of different problems I want to go over. So what I'd like you to do is, if you're not already there, page 393, no vocab today. So what I want you to do is, let's go ahead and let's start with, on 393, problem number 20. Okay, problem number 20. So number 20 says n plus 4n minus 7n minus 1. Okay, go ahead and write that down. Actually, probably already is. Okay, so here's what I'd like you guys to write down. If you take a look, let's go ahead and close read the directions. It says, identify the... Okay, let's look at the top, the directions. Let's try it again. Identify the terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants in each expression. So they're actually asking us to just identify 4 different things. So here's what you're going to do, and we'll just call this step 1, is in the problem, you're going to go ahead and write those 4 things. So let's go ahead and write terms, and we'll put a little colon here because that means that we're just going to list them right now. Like terms, coefficients, and constants. Okay, so guess what? All this is pretty much a vocabulary type of problem. They're just wanting you to, using a problem to identify, using a math sentence or an expression, identify all of these things. See if you know what they are. Okay, so here we go. After you list them, of course, you're going to go ahead and we'll call this step 2. And we'll do what we did yesterday since you're used to it. Let's go ahead and let's find all the terms and let's box them or circle them in to be able to separate them. Okay, so if we do this, this is actually going to help us with the top 2 if you do it right. So here we go. The very first term is n, right? Remember, terms are separated by addition and subtraction signs. You can think of them that way. But the first term is n. I'm going to go ahead and box in this n, and then I'm going to box in all my other n terms. Okay, so here's a 4n, so I'm going to box it in with the addition sign to the left. Remember, the sign is always involved in that. And then actually there's a third n term, and that is 7n. But in this case, right, we box it in with a subtraction sign because the value is negative 7n. And then after that, I keep doing just that, but with the different terms. Well, the only other thing left is this right here. And I'm going to circle all my constants. Well, that is the only constant. Now we'll just say that this is step 3, and that is we're going to go ahead and we're going to answer all of these. So here we go. Terms. If you remember right, terms are the things we just identified. Okay, remember they're a number, they're a variable, or they could be numbers with variables, right? Okay, that are multiplied or divided. So in this case, all I need to do is I just need to, whatever I just did, I just need to copy those down. I'm going to separate them though by commas. So a term, the first term is n. If you put 1n, that's fine. The next term is positive 4n. I could put the positive if I want, or just put 4n since that's implying that it's positive. The negative 7n, comma, and the negative 1 is a term as well. So all I did was everything I just identified, that's what I'm listing. Now, like terms. Okay? With the like terms, I'm going to write down, I'm going to record everything that are like terms with each other. So in this case, look at all of my boxes. I did that because those all have the same variable. They are like terms. So n, comma, 4n, comma, negative 7n are all like terms with each other. Now, there is a negative 1, but does it have a like term? Is there anything else that it goes with? No. There's no other thing there without a variable. Okay. Now, if there was, I could put like a semicolon, and then meaning that it's separating. These are like terms, and then you have a new list of like terms. But that's not the case here. Okay, coefficients. Coefficients, remember, are, and this is pretty important, these are the numbers that are in front of, they are the numbers in front of the variables, meaning multiplied with the variables. That's what a coefficient is. All right, we've had that already. So here we go. Here's what we have. If I take a look here, this is not a coefficient because there's no variable. There's no letter. So if I look here, here are my 3 variables. I need to write 3 coefficients. In this case, you say, well, there's nothing here. Yes, there is. What is it, guys? A 1. Okay? Remember, n or 1n is the same. That coefficient is implied that it's a 1. This one is a 4. And this one is negative 7. Those are our coefficients. And then remember, constants are numbers without variables. And that, in this case, we only have one of them right there, and it's a negative 1. Okay? Questions on that? Okay. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to try out the very next problem. All right? Problem number 21. All right? So I'll check in with you guys in about... Actually, that takes a little while. I'll give you guys 2 minutes because you have so many different things. So you still have to go through all 3 of those steps. Make sure you have that. All right? 2 minutes. Go. Okay, so what I would like you to do, and I'll give you guys 1 minute to do this, turn to your neighbor, and I want you guys to share all your terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants for problem 21. All right, 1 minute, go. You need to go see the nurse in the main office. The nurse in the main office, the Rayburn office by the parking lot over there. Huh? I don't know. It's, that phone call was for you. Okay, the one over Okay, here we go. All right, so problem 21 was negative 3d plus 8 minus d minus 2. All right, so the very first step, right, is just I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I don't forget anything, so I'm going to label terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and identify them. So I'm going to start with my first term here. I'm going to box it in, negative 3d. If I box in all my other d terms, right here is the only one, negative d. Box it in with that negative. Okay, then the next thing is I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, okay, well, 8 is a constant. It doesn't have a variable. So I'm going to circle it and I look at my other terms, and you know what? Negative 2 is also a constant. So they're like terms. I'm going to circle it. So when I talk about my terms, this one's always the easiest, right? I'm going to go ahead and list all of these. So I have a negative 3d, comma, positive 8, comma, negative d, comma, and negative 2. The like terms, I'm going to do the boxes first. It's a negative 3d, comma, and a negative d. However, I have a new set of like terms. Don't put a comma here. If you do, you're going to say it's implying that all of them are like terms. Instead, I'll put a semicolon, okay? It's kind of breaking it up. If you want to put like a squiggly line or a slash or something, I'm not going to be too picky about that, but you have to clarify that they're not all like terms with each other, okay? So the new set is, of course, my two constants, which is an 8 and a negative 2. The coefficients come, remember, off of the variable terms. The only variable terms are the d's. So my coefficients is a negative 3 on that one. And here, remember, if I squeezed a 1 in there, it is a negative 1. Those are my coefficients. And then my constants, remember, are just numbers without variables. And this is a positive 8 and a negative 2. Okay, questions on that one? Okay, I do want to go over one more type of problem. And so let's go ahead and take a look at number 31. Number 31. Okay, what you're going to see here, and I've taught you all the skills for this one you need to know, but you've never seen these skills put together in one problem. So I just want to go over this with you. Okay, the problem on number 31 is 10 times 5g plus 2h minus 3 in parentheses. Now this is minus 4 and then times 3g minus 4h plus 2. Okay, just a little reminder, right? Just kind of keep this in mind. Remember, simplest form we talked about as a definition, it was any expression that does not have like terms and it does not have any parentheses. Well, take a look throughout here. We see both. We've got to get rid of all of them. So here's what you're going to do first. You're going to do step 1, which is you're going to do, I'll put dp, but just know, excuse me, it's distributive property to simplify, to get rid of the parentheses. So if you take a look here, though, look at this. You have stuff that's added and subtracted with it being multiplied by 10. But look at here. You got another one. You actually have like 2 problems to do distributive property on within one large problem. Okay? So here we go. I'm going to go one at a time. I'm going to start with this problem right here. I'm going to completely forget about that second half. I'm only focusing on this. I'm going to go ahead and use the rainbow method. So here we go. If you remember, right, when we do distributive property, find all of your terms. Circle all of your terms. So 10, 5g positive 2h, negative 3. You say, well, Mr. Williams, why didn't you like box and circle? Well, it's because I'm not combining yet. I'm not trying to identify my different terms. I'm just finding my terms for my rainbow. Okay? So what that means is here we go. 10 times 5g, remember, is just 10 times 5, which is 50, or 50 times g. 10 times positive 2h. Well, 10 times positive 2 is a positive 20, or positive 20h. And thank you, those of you that are writing this down. And then 10 times negative 3 is just negative 30. Now I have one of my sets of parentheses basically simplified. I've gotten rid of the parentheses there. Now I want to get rid of the parentheses here. Now if you follow my directions of what I've taught you guys, circling the numbers and the terms, I'm going to be circling positive 2, negative 4h, 3g, and the minus 4, that negative 4, I'm going to circle the whole thing. So here's what I'm going to do now, is exactly what we did here. Negative 4 times 3g. Well, negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. So negative 12 times g. I write down right next to it, just like that. Negative 4 times negative 4h, or negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16h. And negative 4 times positive 2 gives me a negative 8. So step 1, I just simplified all of, I should say, the parentheses part by doing distributive property on the two sections. Now comes step 2. I'm going to combine like terms. Now, it's a pretty long one, but it's not too much longer than part of your homework last night on the page 185 worksheet. So here we go. I'm going to do exactly what I've done even up in these two problems. I'm going to identify my like terms. So here we go. 50g is a g term. I'm going to box it in. I'm going to go ahead and box in all of my g terms. So if I take a look, there's only one other g term that's right there. It's negative 12g. I'm going to box in the 12g with the negative. Remember, always include the sign. Then the next term here is the 20h. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll circle my plus 20h there. And then I'm going to circle all my other h terms. Well, the only other h term is this plus 16h. And then I'm going to go ahead, the next one is the negative 30. I don't know, I'll just maybe put a triangle around it. And all my other constants without a variable, well, that's a negative 8. I'll go ahead and put a triangle around it. And guys, all I did was like coding it, right? I've just made a little code that I can identify my like terms. So when I add or subtract them, I can do that accurately just by looking at the shapes. So here we go. I have 50g minus 12. Well, I know 50 minus 10 is 40, minus another 2 is 38. So what I have is 38g. I have my h terms, 20 plus, positive 20 plus 16. Well, 20 plus that 10, right, is 30 plus the extra 6. So that is a positive 36h. And now my constants, negative 30 minus 8. Well, they're both negatives. I'm going to add them up, right? It's like having 30 negative tiles and another 8 negative tiles. That's a total of 38 negatives, or negative 38. And ladies and gentlemen, there's no parentheses. We're talking addition and subtraction here. There are no like terms. That is our simplified answer. Okay? Pretty long problem. Probably if you would have saw that problem at the beginning of the school year as a 7th grader, you know, you'd be probably freaking out a little bit, maybe. But now you have all the skills. Just two major skills: distributive property and combining like terms. You can simplify it. Okay? So, guys, all about our second section of course, simplifying algebraic expressions. Okay? Questions about either one of these two steps here on these long problems? Okay?